Action. Hey, good afternoon, beautiful people. Samson Williams here at Coinvention. We're here with Dan from Iota, and we're just going to hop right into it. Dan, what brought you out to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm out in New York, and the Iota Foundation recently moved into North America, and we're expanding here. So I love just coming to all the local events and really just engaging at the ground floor. Like, I think you really need to get to where the action's happening, go local, and really understand what these different communities are doing with blockchain, how they're thinking about these movements, how they're thinking about the technology, even the digital assets. So I'm happy to be here to kind of get a different perspective. This is my first event or big conference in Philly. Yeah.
So as a disclaimer, I did watch Dan's presentation earlier. I took notes, so I'm going to cheat.
Okay.
And so, Dan, as Iota is expanding into the U.S., for the humans who are just joining, just meeting you for the first time, just hearing Iota, right? They're like, oh, what is Iota and why are they expanding to the U.S.?
Sure, yeah, no. So Iota is a global phenomena, if you will. We're a nonprofit that's based in Germany, and we're a distributed ledger technology that's open source that wants to solve a really particular problem, and that's around how do you send and receive data and value across the world in a permissionless way.
Oh man, we have a lot of things.
We have a lot. We can unravel a lot of that, but I guess the main crux of that is that there's so many blockchain systems out there that are trying to they're a problem looking for a solution. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Or is it a solution looking for a problem?
It's a solution looking for a problem.
Okay, so I said it wrong. A solution? No, it's fine. Solution looking for a problem. And we realized when we were looking at traditional blockchain architecture that we couldn't do a lot of the things that we wanted to do to solve around IoT, machine-to-machine communication, and a lot of smart city development. So the founders of Iota in the early 2010s came together and started thinking about what a new blockchain architecture would look like. So Iota actually isn't a blockchain, but it is a distributed ledger. So all blockchains are distributed ledgers. Not all distributed ledgers are blockchains.
Oh man, we have so much to unravel. I know there's someone screaming right now.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. I apologize. It's very complicated.
That's okay. Because all blockchains are distributed ledgers. Not all distributed ledgers are blockchain.
Correct.
I think this is important because earlier when we were giving a presentation, I said how the Bitcoin blockchain is the Model T of distributed ledger technology.
Yeah.
So we're looking now, 10 years later, we're looking for what comes after Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. And so as we're looking at Iota, and you're talking a little bit about it, give us some more details. Give us some of the. You don't have to give us the secret sauce, but let us have a taste.
I don't know if I have the secret sauce. So if Bitcoin's the Model T, then what comes after Bitcoin? A lot of people think it's something that's more scalable. They think that it has better token economics. They think it's something that's better for enterprise. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know what really comes after Bitcoin, but what I can say is that the underlying technology that was originally developed for a store of value, right, to just exchange value, is now trying to be used to apply to these very complex business use cases that original solution can't really scale to. So having something like the Iota Tangle, which is a distributed ledger but not a blockchain, it allows us to do these really unique things like as more activity happens on the network, we actually get faster rather than smaller. And so our mainnet's been live for 3 years. We launched in 2015. But we are still in active development, and we're growing and expanding and making the network stronger every day. And the goal is now that you can kind of look at it this way, right? So Ethereum, they created like smart contracts, and now they're going towards scalability, right? They created this ecosystem, now they're going towards scalability. We inherently have scalability designed into the system, and now it's just about kind of getting to that enterprise level, which is really what we're focusing on now. We work with some of the largest organizations in the world. We've got an incredible business development team for a nonprofit. And it's kind of finding that balance between getting that real exposure and adoption from large organizations, but then also we really are of the people. Like, we're not a corporate entity, right? So anyone around the world likes to pick us up and play with our tech and help kind of grow to make it stronger.
I love it. And for the Bitcoin maximalists and fanatics out there, before you get too uptight, I remind people, what is Satoshi's paper title? A peer-to-peer electronic payment system.
Yep.
Peer-to-peer, not necessarily peer-to-token. Peer-to-exchange.
Yep.
Peer-to-custodian. And so when you get out of the peer-to-peer, the Bitcoin blockchain wasn't designed to scale for enterprise application and uses. And so again, there's nothing wrong with the Model T. It's a solid car for the first of its time.
Sure.
But if you're moving into the enterprise space, what does that decentralized ledger technology look like? So is it Iota? We don't know. We're going to find out. Is it Ethereum smart contracts, Corda, any of the other protocols?
Yeah.
I love it because as we move forward into the business of distributed ledger technology applications, now we're going to see who's going to come out on top, who's going to win. It's the Germans in Iota. They're coming at it. They're coming to America. Dan, for people to find out, first off, say your last name so the folks can follow you.
Simerman.
Dan Simerman.
Yeah.
So it's Dan Simerman. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me at iota.org. You can come find us on Discord, Dan Simerman on Twitter. And, there's a really interesting point you made about, you just said about like adoption, enterprise adoption. One of the things that the Iota Foundation is really focused on is around becoming a standard. Right? We're actually working with standards bodies to become an open standard and an open source technology. And we really think the only way you can do that and how enterprises are going to come on board is if they can have access to the decision-making process, right? It's kind of like a form of open governance. So a lot of the blockchain projects that are coming out there, they just have a solution, but they're not necessarily working with large organizations. They're not necessarily working with governance bodies. They're not really thinking about how they make the tech a true standard. And I think that's so important when you're trying to bring an enterprise person or an organization on board, especially when you're trying to make the case that it should be on a permissionless system. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference between like permissioned, which is Hyperledger, and there's permissionless, which is like Ethereum or Iota. So we see a future where a permissionless enterprise system, like enterprises should want to come on a permissionless system. And the reason that they want to do that is that when you think about, 1 billion IoT devices, you want to work on an open standard. Because if you create your own standard, then guess what? You're going to be competing with 10 other for-profit companies all trying to create their own standard. And then you're going to run into what happened with NFC payments, where it took it 10 years to get on the market, even though it was already readily available. So we're kind of an alternative to that model.
I love it. This is Dan Simerman from Iota. And he said some things as we sign off, because he's talking about standards. Because later, when you say standards, I think interoperability. Yeah. And so it's one of those picky little things you got to figure out if you're trying to build a global business. Like, how are we going to standardize these processes so that we can have interoperability between our IoT devices, this watch, and everything else? So, Dan, you guys are on the cutting edge of interestingness and awesomeness. So we continue to look forward to witnessing your incursion into America, and as well as trying to standardize the business, standardize the industry. So thank you very much. My name is Samson Williams. This is Dan Simerman.
That's right.
We're at Coinvention. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And don't forget to follow Dan on Twitter, our social media.
Yeah.
Peace.